Hey there, Brandon here, Socket Monkey Garage, and it's finally the day to take the Charger in for service. Hopefully we'll get those two existing issues fixed, plus the new 12-volt low voltage issue update, the RSU that's now available that Mopar Tech Jordan just announced last week. It's got to be applied to mine as well. I'm excited about this, so let's head over to the dealership, drop the car off, and have a bit of a chat along the way. Come on, let's go. Let's get going. I'm sure traffic is going to be lovely this time of morning, but at least I have the comfort of this lovely interior to keep me happy. Hopefully I will not get stuck in traffic on the way down there. Some of you may notice that the car is rather quiet this morning. It is early, and with the new Uconnect 5 update that recently was received over the air, I'm sure you saw it in my previous video, they've changed the menu labels for the Fretsonic exhaust, and now it says stealth mode instead of just off, which sounds cooler but is essentially the same thing. What I'm dropping off the vehicle for today, I think that's going to address 99% of my complaints regarding the car. And if over time, and hopefully over the 2 years that I'll have this vehicle, Dodge will continue to incrementally improve and update the software to perhaps follow and perhaps in response to the user bases or the owners, the car's owners' feedback. And there's quite a bit of feedback, especially if you go out to the Daytona Owners Forum. We've got a lot of really good members, a lot of really knowledgeable members, especially those with prior experience with EVs from other marques. And I think having that collective consensus, if there's a consensus around the lack of certain features or the way certain features are implemented, and the way to fix that is purely a software update, even if it's not the changing of a default setting or the complete overhaul of how something works, even simply giving your users the ability to turn off or turn on certain things, such as brake regen. You know, currently in this car, I don't believe there's really any way to completely turn it all the way off. Another thing I really don't like, and this car is really bad about it, is maybe it's just me. Maybe down in the comments, if you could, let me know if this is just another one of those rare situations that only I find annoying, but nobody else really seems to be bothered by it. And while you're down there, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, nail that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. But I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of new cars won't let you put the transmission in reverse or drive if the door, or any door, is open. And I'm the kind of guy that, especially with a lot of the cars that I have, and I'm backing up or I don't want to hit a curb, I'll pop the door open and I'll kind of glance down, or I'll poke my head behind me while I'm going backwards, and this thing will literally slam it into park and apply the parking brake. And I understand the safety, the reason behind including that sort of safety feature. But maybe as an old school guy that, likes hanging out the door while he's moving a car around, or for whatever reason, have the ability to disable that. But that's kind of my point with these cars straying far away from analog, that I think we've gone too far. I think, this car still has a lot that it hasn't adapted that you'll find on comparable cars at this price point. Maybe in the end that ends up being a good thing. Maybe it brings it a little bit closer back to analog, but it still has a lot of digital nannies that, just slightly annoy you. But it's not alone in that category. The BMW, it's a manual transmission, so I can roll around with the door open, but I believe the 500e and the EV9 do the same thing. If you pop that door open while it's in gear and you roll anywhere faster than 1 or 2 miles an hour, bam, it's going to slam the car, stop it, and start screaming at you. I was, fortunate enough to get in rather quickly after finding out that this new RSU had dropped, and it just so happened to correspond to the fact that the 2 parts that I'd been waiting on had finally come into their inventory. But I do want to share a bit of a negative experience I had, not with the car, not with the dealer and their service center, but with Dodge customer support. So if you're a member or if you follow the Daytona Owners Forum, you'll see that Dodge Cares has a presence there and is actually really good at responding. And I've had several conversations directly with them where they have provided me case numbers, star case numbers, and have provided updates to it and indicated that they were maintaining these cases to capture and log everything that I was going through. So I had decided that I most likely wanted to relocate who I was using to do service on the car, change it to another local dealer. But I was later informed that once the parts are ordered, those parts are kind of associated with the VIN number of this car, and you have to take it back to the dealer that ordered them. And I fully understand that. But through that conversation with Dodge Customer Care, what I came to find out was that both my star cases had just arbitrarily been closed. And the reason given was that the car wasn't at the dealership. Well, the car wasn't at the dealership because the dealership couldn't fix it. You didn't provide them the updates. You hadn't provided them the parts. The case isn't closed. And there was no indication or no notification that these cases had been closed. And in the conversations I had been having with Dodge Cares on the Daytona Owners Forum, they indicated they were continuing to keep the case updated, that someone would be reaching out, and nobody ever did. So a big fail on Dodge's part from a customer service standpoint. And again, it's just another thing that continues to cloud and color my experience with this car. But hey, we're at the dealership now. Let's get this dropped off. Let's head back home.
How are you this morning?
I'm good, how are you?
Great. You here for service?
Yeah.
Do we have parts here for you?
Yeah, you do. A couple of parts, the seat fan, the control stack here.
Yeah.
And then a 12 volt, an RSU for the 12 volt issue. So I think it's gonna really set this car right after all this. So I'm excited.
All right. You want to just shut her off and leave
Yeah.
the key in it?
Yeah. Hey everyone, quick update. So I got a call. It seemed at the time, and now I understand why, the call to come pick up the car rather quickly after dropping it off, just the following day, not even 24 hours later, maybe just a little over 24 hours later. And I was tied up at the time. I was down in Atlanta. I couldn't make it back. So I'm here today. It's Wednesday. Dropped the car off on Monday. And I was looking over the paperwork, and you see the cars back there behind me. And I just didn't see a line item for that one RSU that Mopar Tech Jordan was kind enough to alert all the owners on the Daytona Owners Forum. And so I inquired as to, is it buried somewhere? Can you check and see if the update was applied? And sure enough, after I was really insistent when dropping off the car, that be the one thing that if they complete any work, that it please be that, completely missed. It's just, again, another nail in the coffin of this whole saga for me. Love the car, still love the car. Really excited for them to keep it. I'm gonna have to get a ride back home again, so this just burns a couple hours out of my day. But thankfully it's a couple hours I can afford. Hopefully it won't take them too terribly long, and maybe we'll just be back here tomorrow. But sorry I don't have an update on the car. I was really planning on kind of walking through all of the changes that this update brought about, taking it over to an Electrify America DC fast charger and seeing if that error message has been corrected. I have seen reports that this update does take care of that issue, but that'll just have to be for another time, another video. So thanks again for joining me. Let's just clock wipe this to hopefully tomorrow and try this all over again. All right, so it's day number 2 in coming to pick the Charger up, and based on everything I've seen, all the paperwork, and just checking the car out myself, it looks like all of the available updates have been applied. So let's not waste any time. Let's get back out on that road. Let's head over to a Electrify America DC fast charger and see if it resolves those error codes I had in my last video, as well as I want to confirm some of the early reports from other owners who have had this update applied, say that it has improved the throttle response, improved the overall performance of the vehicle, as well as improved the brake regen, which you all know is a bit of a point that I get stuck on with this car quite a bit. So I just want to jump inside. Hate to cut this short, but let's just go. Let's get inside and go, and we'll talk along the way. All right. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I missed this car. I'm excited to get back on the road, and I'm excited to see if what other forum members on the Daytona Owners Forum have mentioned in regards to what feels like perhaps some improved throttle mapping, some off-throttle, coasting or e-coasting performance, as well as improved brake regen performance too. So let's just go ahead and head out on the road, find out for ourselves whether or not I too walk away with the same impression after a drive. Post RSU update. Which I guess RSU update is a bit repetitive. It should just be RSU. I did already notice that I did have to go back into the drive settings and re-update all of my preferred customizations for custom mode. So clearly the work they did impact those modules and did impact those settings. So that's a good sign. Yeah, okay. So almost right away, I'll say that it is incredibly smoother on throttle, off throttle. There isn't that sort of jolt that the car used to have. I know early reviews, some of the pre-production models that were handed around to some of the automotive journalists, a few of them did mention a sense of the EDMs kind of popping and rocking. At moments like this, I'm on a bit of a hill and I'm kind of letting off the throttle and letting back on the throttle, and yeah, that's gone. That is a lot smoother. So, whoa, and yes, okay, wow, so much more power and torque with a lot less throttle input than before. It's going to take a little bit for me to adjust to that. That really actually knocked me back a lot more than I was initially expecting. Now they did, as part of the work, disassemble the entire dash here to replace this control stack, and then I believe there may have been an update that goes along with that. I will say the moment I got in the car before we started filming, I did have to adjust the air conditioning, and right away I can say it actually seems to be more flush, better aligned, and it was much more responsive. There wasn't that tap a few times and it was like, okay, now I'm going to respond. It went in practically right away. It started adjusting the temperatures. A big plus, and considering it's a really hot sunny day today, is I can use the driver's seat ventilation for the first time without sounding like I was sitting on top of an RC helicopter. And it's wonderful. It works. It's the first time I've been able to experience it. And I actually got a little cold and had to turn the AC temperature back up a little bit because it was doing such an effective job of cooling me down. Oh yeah, it has. Wow. Yeah, they've definitely woken this beast up. I think, as I've said before, it felt at times they left a little bit on the table, and I could be wrong, and I'm, happy for any engineers or anyone that wants to comment and respond to this. I understand based on the wonderful technical details that Mopar Tech Jordan Rose. If you're not familiar with him, I'll leave a link down in the description. I highly recommend, if you're a Daytona owner, if you're subscribed to me, and if you aren't, you need to be, but if you're subscribed to me and you're watching this content, you're here about this car, he needs to be the second channel you subscribe to. He has done an excellent job of oftentimes following up my videos and the issues I've experienced with very transparent, clear, easy to understand videos that explain from a technician side of things and from a kind of an insider's perspective on servicing these cars, what's at play, what's currently in the works to resolve it, or what can resolve it. And if you have one of these, the obvious answer is it's under warranty and you need to take it in. And if you're fortunate to live in the Virginia Beach area, I highly recommend you go by Jordan Shop to have it done, because I can't imagine there really honestly being anyone else that is as passionate about these cars, understands them, owns one, most importantly, and really will take care of you. And even if you don't own a Daytona, if you own other Stellantis products, Jeeps, especially if you have some SRT products, I know Jordan would love to get his hands on those. So go out there, hit my description, go out to his channel if you haven't found it already. And if you had, but haven't subscribed, please do. Jordan's putting in a lot of effort and time on this on top of his regular job. And I think the community of owners for these Daytona EVs is better for it. So thank you, Jordan, and thank you everyone who goes over and subscribes to his channel. But my point being, if perhaps Jordan or engineers at Dodge right now familiar with this update and familiar with the changes and improvements it provides, is happy to share a little bit more insights, I'd be happy to even jump on a quick call with you to discuss it. But so far, my impression is, wow, great job. I knew this was how this story was going to play out. I was confident, I've said it before, that great minds were at work, passionate people who care about this product, who really care about the future of this product, understand and really appreciate its capabilities and its potential, that they were going to work to help incrementally improve this and to listen to the owners. And that's what I think they're doing. And yeah, there's been some hiccups along the way. And I know my own experience in taking this car in and getting these items fixed right the first time was a little bumpy, but that has nothing to do with Stellantis. That has nothing to do with the engineers at Dodge that worked on this car. And it certainly has nothing to do with Jordan or his peer, the other techs here in Chattanooga at Crown Cars that worked on this car. They're really kind of at the mercy of the engineering teams and their responses to this. But the unfortunate, lack of communication, specifically in the service department at my dealer, is an isolated situation to them. And I think it's just reflective of perhaps some improvements that they need to do. Now, I will say, I do think that Dodge needs to refactor their approach to customer or serving the customers, the new buyers that are attracted by this car. It's clear that we are obviously a different breed, as the owners of the previous generation always love to point out in the comments that I'm not like one of them, which is strange considering I've owned several SRT products, Ram products, Jeep products. I think I'm about as Mopar as you can get. My early memories of cars and what drove me to be passionate about them was my dad's Charger, and just being a child and at eye level seeing those kind of just bright solid red rear taillights, I was just absolutely fascinated by that. In fact, I think he saw how much I loved his Charger. He bought me a slot car set that featured two Chargers, and I absolutely loved the heck out of that thing and always dreamt of having one of those big, long, two-door Super Coupe muscle cars of my own, and here we are. And it's electric at that, just like the slot car track was. So, but yeah, regardless of who I am and what I look like and what you think about me, these cars are interesting and unique and do offer capabilities that haven't been seen before. And so I think if you're an automotive enthusiast, regardless of what your stance is on EV versus ICE versus hybrid versus hamster wheel powered vehicles, it doesn't really matter. If it's a beautiful car that's put together well and has a comfortable modern interior and the capability to knock you back in your seat to reach 60 in 3.5 seconds, the quarter mile in under 11.5. How could you not like that? How could you disparage a car that brings a smile to your face every time you drive it? And I get that the electrification, I get that the application of this new Stella Large platform introduces new challenges to the engineering team, but I truly believe that they're up to the task. And just so far in the few, first 5-10 minutes I've been back behind the wheel since having this update applied, I can tell you already, this feels like the car that I was hoping to receive when I took delivery. And I'm really looking forward to getting some more miles on it and confirming that fact. And I will take all of you along on that journey. And as you know, I will always be completely transparent and completely honest with you in my experience. I do know that they've roughly made about 5,400 of these. And of those, roughly 2,000, so a little over a third, are on the road. I am seeing more and more in my
Watch
feed.
out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Oh boy, let's shut her up. I have seen some posts recently, especially one out on leasehacker.com, where people are landing incredible deals on this car from a lease perspective. And it's attracting a lot of people. And I think what Dodge has done is, through those incentives and discounts, reached a sweet spot where people are willing to take a chance on something new like this. They're willing to, much like I am, to accept some of the gremlins, some of the glitches along this journey in trade for getting something that feels far more expensive and more valuable than the price we ultimately pay, and delivers an experience that you just cannot find in any other car, electric or ICE, at that price point. And so another topic that's coming up quite a bit in the past week since I dropped the car off is people are taking advantage of these deals. And I think now that one of the primary sources of negative feedback, I myself included, have had a few videos where I was clearly not happy with the compounding set of issues that the car was having. If this update, as it appears to have so far done, is taking care of most of those issues, I think anyone that's interested in this car that was on the fence because of it should rush out and get one of these and take advantage of the deals before the whole kind of perception and shift starts to move the needle more over to demand spiking in this limited set of 5,400 of these cars. And if you think about it, and you believe the news that you've seen around the restructuring of the models, the restructuring of the tiers, and the removal of the RT trim line from this, and the focus on this being more of a special order vehicle versus one that's made to spec and sent to dealers and available on the lot, it could be a car that could be a challenge to find at some point in the future. And so if you're interested, I highly suggest you jump on some of these lease deals, because if the cars had this update applied, I don't think you're going to experience many of the issues that some of the early adopters like myself have, and you should have an overall positive experience with the car. And even if you do have a few problems, it's under warranty. And other than the minor situation I ran into with them not properly applying all the updates this last time, for the most part, getting the car addressed is a rather painless process. We're going to try charging this on the fast charger, see if we get that CHAdeMO connector lock error, prove whether or not this update addresses that. I think that's a key thing that many people are interested in. And then we're going to wrap it up. And before we do that, I do just want to say thank you to you all for your support. Thank you for helping me reach 1,200 subscribers. I know that doesn't sound like a really big number, but when you think about it, going from 0 at the start of November last year to 1,200 now, I consider to be a pretty good growth. And I know each of you watching played a part in that, and I do thank you. And if you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying the content, and maybe even if you're not necessarily really all that interested in this specific car, it's not the only one I have. And now that this car may start to not dominate my mind so much with the issues it was having, I might start to feature some of the other cars, such as the BMW Z4 M40i. My wife has a lovely little 500e that I may reach out to Mopar Tech Jordan about addressing a flashing odometer due to an inability to align the proxies because I replaced the head unit with a new Android touchscreen model. I also have a couple of Japanese JDM vehicles, if that's your scene. I've got a Honda Acti and a Suzuki Jimny, and I'm actually looking at acquiring another car and building kind of like a miniature K rally car, because a rally car series is coming to Chattanooga, and I thought in honor of that, I might build my own. So if any of that sounds like it's interesting to you, or just hearing me drone on about my thoughts about cars and things related to it, hit that subscribe button if you could. We're here at the charging station, so let's jump out and let's see what happens. So as you'll recall, if you've seen my last video, and I do apologize for the background noise, downtown Chattanooga is a noisy place. But this is the part we would get to, and then we would get that green splash screen that said ChadMo, and I'll splash a replay of it here as I describe it on the screen. But at this point, so far I hear all the pops and clicks as the connectors lock in. Oh, and there you go. All right, so sure enough, confirmation that this new update resolves the existing DC fast charging issue. And you know what, since we're here at 61%, let's just let it pump some electrons in there for a bit. I'm gonna go back in the car, sit down, have a conversation with you, and see where we're at. The current charge speed is growing. It's approaching 160. I've essentially proven, and based on my experience in the drive over here, much of the kind of quality of life improvements around just throttle response, brake regen response. Brake regen never just struck me, it was just there. I didn't even think about it, honestly, and that's a good sign. And now that we fixed the issue with charging on DC fast charging, I'm feeling very confident about taking this car on a road trip. So with that, I want to say thank you. I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to head over and pick up my wife in a lovely new sports car and take her on a drive before this day decides to go from sunny and warm to very wet and windy. So thanks again for tuning in. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you in the next one. Maybe on the way over to the shop, I can get an opportunity to pass through Mexico and just maybe, without all the cameras and out all the drones, I'm just really curious to see what this thing can hit 60 in. So let's do that on the way over, and we'll wrap things up. I do again just have to say how wonderful it is to have the seat cooling ventilation working in this seat now. The timing could not have been better. It is very warm and humid today, and that is keeping my back from turning into a swamp for sure. Oh, if you have one of these, you need to stop this video once it's over. Once you've clicked the subscribe button, get out in it and go drive it. It's just such an enjoyable car. Unlike any of the other cars I have or honestly have had, I really think that a very small vocal majority of upset people have quite honestly soured the perception of this car. And I can tell you, it's undeserved. It really truly is undeserved. especially at the prices that dealers are willing to negotiate down on these to get their inventory to move. I think if you watched my lease video, the total out the door cost, everything included that I really paid for this, was a little over $68,000. And I'm telling you, for $68,000, I'm getting my money's worth. And now that it's been properly updated and a lot of those issues have been resolved, more so. All right, here we are. Road up ahead is clear. We are going to go into performance pages. We are going to get the timers set up. In the race options here, we're going to do launch control. Launch control has been activated. I'm going to switch feet on the brake pedal there. Oop, let me get back over here. We're going to bring those timers back up. Everything's ready once this vehicle that's in front of me clears out. Oh, probably want to put this thing in drag mode. There we go, drag mode set up. Let's get back to the race options. Let's activate launch control. Launch control is activated. My foot is down on that pedal. The throttle is punched. Here we go. Oh, jeez. Oh, ha. Holy hell. Oh, please forgive my language. I achieved speeds and I was past 60 at half the distance it was last time. I cannot wait to see what those numbers look like. Let me bring up the performance pages over here in the gauge cluster. Okay, so that last run I just did 3.7 seconds. That bested my best, which was 3.9. I have ready now, green lights. Let's get back into, let's get back into the race options. Let's activate launch control. Gonna swap feet here. Brake pedal is down. Throttle is down. Here we go. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, 100% better improvement and better performance than prior to the update. Wow. Wow, wow. Wow, wow. Sorry, I sound like a child. This kind of stuff just brings it out of me. All right. Wow. Another 3.7. You know, I think on regular pavement, that's pretty good. And that, it feels like it's just absolutely unleashing all of the power, as before it felt like it was just leaving something there on the table. I'm happy. I'm happy. And I think with that, we've got a video here where I'm going to wrap it up in a good mood. I'm at the shop now. It's time to swap cars. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for tuning in. Come back next week and let's have some more fun.